And I've got a few who are on the live broadcast, and of course, the rest of you guys who are here. We're going to be talking today about how to build an unstoppable next season in your life. Not just 2024, but how to make yourself unstoppable in this next season. We'll also look at some things that will stop you as well, but that is the goal. Help you going from the grind to functioning by your design. Before we do that, though, I've got to tell you about, well, I live by the beach. So I'm going to teach you how to fish like the best fisherman that I've seen. Listen, I would know. I go out there 6 days out of 7 every single week, and I watch, and I watch. Here's what I want you to do. Come visit me. I'm going to put you in a helicopter. We're going to get going probably about 80, 90 feet above the surface. We may have a few other helicopters around us, we may not. Your job is to look out, look down, see if you can spot a fish. When you do, you let me know. We'll circle back around. You jump out of the helicopter, face first, mouth open, and pounce on the fish, grab it, and there you go. You got it. Probably not the most efficient way for you to fish, is it? But one of my favorite animals fishes exactly like this. It's a pelican. And even though it doesn't work for you, it totally works for the pelican. He's got this big, pointy, thick beak with this pocket that just gathers everything. Like, he spits out the water with the fish that's in it. He's got this thick noggin of a skull. He's got this neck that can whip around and just absorb some of the shock. And once it hits the water, a fish in mouth, even if it doesn't get the fish in its mouth, the body whips down. It knows exactly how to do it, where it spins its body 60 to 90 degrees. It's super efficient for the pelican when it's fishing like a pelican. If it were to try to fish like you, it wouldn't work. If you were to try to fish like it, definitely, right, it's not going to work. I'm probably going to be put in jail for putting you in my helicopter. So we're not going to try to catch fish like a pelican. Your job, your goal, if you want to be unstoppable, is to do it as yourself. And so I will be posing those questions, and I want you to pose those questions of, okay, yeah, that's how it's done, but how would I do it? Because there is a flood of options out there. If you are in business development, which all of us on this call, most of us are, we're influencing people to buy, we're influencing people as referral partners, we're influencing people to join our team, we're doing something where we're connecting with people, and the truth is you've got to learn to do it as your old awkward self. And maybe sometimes throw the other ways of doing it into the trash bin where they belong. No matter if they work for other people, the question is, what are you built for? So we're going to be looking at how you can be unstoppable in 2024. A part of it is being the pelican. A part of it is, it's not what you think. I'll just say that. Let's talk about what is going to make you stoppable first. Because if you're going to get stopped, you might want to know what would happen. And actually, before I jump into it, I want you to look up at that beautiful vision board. I've got them all around. I'm just going to grab an old one real quick. Whee! All right. Look at that beautiful vision board. And when you look at that, ask yourself, like, okay, if I'm stopped in going after these things, why was I stopped? What would possibly stop me? What are my obstacles? They call that oh gosh, I used to do this all the time. There's someone help me. What is the thing that they have it's the 4 quadrants, and it's the things when you're looking at your goals, and one of those things you're looking at is obstacles. There's a way of, I forget, it's SWOT analysis. And so do a SWOT analysis of yourself. I forget what SWAT stands for. Remember, SWV standing for Sisters with Voices, but I forget what SWAT stands for. What are the things that would stop you? I'm going to throw a few out, and I'll tell you these are major obstacles in my life, in your life, and if we succumb to these things, you are going to be scratching your head, saying, "Man, dang it." Okay, you're going to be stopped if you have bad tactics. Bad tactics, right? You're not doing things the way you were made to do. The pelican, he fishes with his big awkwardness. He's pretty good at it. What are your tactics? Are you good at those tactics? Maybe those have changed. Maybe you've done it this way for forever, but it's time to do something a little bit different. Okay? That's a big one. Maybe it's too many tactics. I have been really, really guilty of this. And there is a mask that you get to put on when you try at a lot of things. When you try at a lot of things, you're never expecting one of those things to do great, and it alleviates sometimes the pressure of performance or pressure of scrutiny, of examination of whether what you're doing or not works. So maybe you're someone who does too many tactics, or so you're cluttered, or you do it a little bit and then stop, and then a little bit and then stop, and a little bit and stop, and what you are is your business ADD. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sometimes people get bored of what's working. Don't do that. All right. Tactics are one thing. Maybe they're tactics you don't believe in. Maybe you bought like a lead source and it just doesn't feel like you. I have one guy on the call who was like, he was in a lead source, didn't feel like him. And so he went and he made his own lead source up. Pretty cool. In a down industry. Super cool. Maybe you don't believe in it. Maybe you're not in your tactics. Your tactics are self-serving. And it's not others serving. And boy, oh boy, sometimes the brain that wants to kick in when you think you don't have enough, or you're not enough, or your bills are due, or your kid now needs braces, whatever those things are, we bring that to the table, and we think that because we need, that should impact what's happening out there, whether it's people or God, they're going to answer these needs. But the truth is that the market responds to value, not your need. Like, I love you. I want you to succeed. I'm going to respond to your value, and people are responding to your value. So bad tactics, you don't believe, you're not serving. You're serving yourself, not other people, and that happens. It happens. Okay, none of us are bad people. This happens to all of us. Okay, here's what I want to get into, and this is an interesting part. If we have a bad inner voice, it's bad self-talk. I used to keep these little journals up around. Actually, I used to send them to people. If you want one, let me know. I'm going to be clearing through my office here pretty soon, and I'm sure I'm going to come across these journals. But I would actually catalog, and every time I would have a negative thought towards myself. You want to talk about courageous? Like, keep a tiny, tiny book for it, because you don't want any, like, who knows what you're thinking, and you want to be honest. So I would write down all of these things that I was thinking negative towards myself. And I found that it was these high pressure moments where I really, really wanted something, that it was at the end of it, I would be talking negative to myself. And because it's almost like I was lessening the blow of someone else telling me that I failed, or someone else telling me I wasn't whatever I wanted to be. You do that too. And your negative self-talk is killing you. Your negative inner voice, some people call it head trash. Okay. Where does that come from? Well, it comes from people. It comes from your past. What people are you surrounding yourself with? Today, right now, it's me, and I'm pouring positive in you. I believe in you. Vitamin DT coming at you. Right? I want I want you to know you were made for victory, but it's like we've gotta get around right people. That's with podcasts. That's with ourselves. That's with journaling. That's, you go to church. There's a group of people who are going that you got to surround yourself with other believers in your process. That's interesting. That sounded really religious, which I guess it could be, yeah. But also, like on the other part, like it applies to everything. You become what you're around. That's why they call culture culture. Culture creates individuals, believe it or not, and individuals create culture. Everything kind of like absorbs the properties of that. So, people, your past. I'm going to say this real quick, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Your past can stop you if you let it. If you're going to use your past to show you why you can't, then your past will stop you. If you can reframe your past, which I believe we all have the privilege of doing, nobody can tell me what my past means. I believe we can take our past and we can turn it into an asset and into a reason of why we must do something, or why we are going to do something, of why we are uniquely available or able. I believe we can do that. Reframe your past, or else your past can stop you. It could have been a past failure. It could have been yesterday. It could have been an argument with your spouse. She always does this. He always does that. Just stop it. Today's new. For those of you on the West Coast, like, it's really new. All right. What else? What else stops us? I believe that if we are people, sponsor of today, the person who gave me this cup, Timmy Ostrom, who was on here. Hey, if you're in mortgage and you gave me a cup, I'm going to promote you, because this guy right here runs an awesome team. If you're on the West Coast, you need to talk to him. Look, I just recruited for you, Timmy. All you other LOs, I'm kidding. Listen, give me a cup. Just kidding. Or a hat. I'm growing out my hair, so I need coverage. All right, jokes aside, what else can stop? Here's these two right here. And I'm going to stop with these two because I feel like they are for people who are a little bit. They either want to see themselves as excellent, or they have a little bit of people pleasing in them. Okay, and that's definitely me. Okay. Now, I believe that that's a good quality, because people pleasing can make you give a dang, which that's important. Okay. Two words, I'm going to put them together and I'll separate them. Performance and the algorithm. Performance and the algorithm. Performance meaning you're showing up, you're doing your tapping and you're doing it because that's what you've learned gets you accepted. That's what you've learned is what you think people desire, what people want, that's what you've learned to do. And the problem with it is performance is, I think it's fine, but also it can mask authenticity. Got to be able to combine the two. The algorithm. You might think I'm talking about LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, and I kind of am. But when you look at the algorithm there's two ways that you can abuse it. You can say, I'm not going to pay attention to the algorithm, and you can say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever the algorithm tells me. And both of those are deadly. I'm not going to pay attention to the algorithm means I'm not going to look at what other people need. I'm just going to do what I want because this is what I feel. And that, my friend, is not professional. A professional takes what they believe, what they do, who they are, and they apply it towards other people. So if you're involved in the algorithm, it really is good for showing you what other people desire. Use that. Forget about whether or not this is on any of the socials. I want you to think about this. There's an algorithm, like it's been there, like I don't care how old or young you are. When you went to school, there was an algorithm. When you were raised, there was an algorithm. You learned that this is accepted, this is not. This is desirable, this is not. And you can choose to conform to it, or you can choose to not. Thank God for the algorithm. It shows you the ways that people, now to put it back in social media, it shows you the way that people want to and are willing to receive your information. Shows you what they're interested in. Okay? So understand and serve people's interests, but back to the performance part, don't do it as a performer. Do it from the place of authenticity. And so if you can bring authentic to the performance, oh, you have dynamite. If you can bring authentic to the place of the algorithm, and you learn to be you in the process of serving other people, that's your zone of genius. That's going to be the thing that when you do it over and over and over again, it's your repeatable day. And as professionals, I believe we should be building our repeatable days. Why would you want to build a business that you don't want to show up for? Make it repeatable. So understand the algorithm, what the algorithm wants. Understand what people want, the masses of people, and understand who you are in it. Because if you don't, you can lose yourself in that. You can only do what people want. And then at the end of a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're in one of a few bad situations. You're in one situation where you've done everything they wanted and they didn't accept you. Is there anything worse? Or you have done everything they wanted, they accepted you, and now you have to keep being that. Whew. All right. Heavy, right? Those are ways to lose. Those are ways to lose. I'm going to give you a few ways to win, and to do it, I'm going to bring you into. I'm going to go into this book real quick. This is called The Inner Game of Tennis. There we go. The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Gallwey. And I heard many years ago that Tom Brady, who is not my favorite, but whatever, because Peyton Manning was better than him. But he said that this book was the most critical thing he'd ever read for his own success. So when someone who has all of the Super Bowl rings and appearances and all that he does says something like that, it's good to listen. It's good to listen. And so I open it up and I'm not all the way through it. And I normally listen to books. This one actually is not on Audible, but I wanted to read it anyway. They have there's someone reading it on YouTube and whatever. But I wanted to go slow on this one because I'm experiencing this book. Here is what the author said. He said he is I just now started looking at some of these things. I have people who are sending me cups and hats. Boy, I feel like it's like the kid at before Christmas telling you everything he wants. All right, sorry. Actually, I'm not. I'm just having fun. He said this. He said Gallwey said, most people came to him and they're asking him as a tennis coach. They're saying, help me. Let's see if I can make this any bigger. Help me with my, I guess I'll just do this, with my skill. Oh, great. And it's yellow. Oh, here we are. And we will make it this color, Boston Baked Bean red. Help me with my skill. And, and so that's what he would do. He would tell him, how to stand, the back foot this way, the front foot this way. When you're swinging, flip your wrist. Also, put your eyes here, keep your shoulders level. It's all of these things. And so if you can imagine, right, all of the things. Imagine, and he said people would gladly pay him for this. They would pay him to tell them everything they're doing wrong. And what he found is that it helped very rarely, but it was the way to make money. But what he realized was he wasn't helping anyone. Oops. There's a quote, and I don't think that he says it, but it sums it up. There's a golfer who said, I find that playing golf or swinging the club, or I'm not a golfer either. I don't play the rich sports. I find that playing that swinging the club is best done with less things on the mind. And that's actually what Galway said. He said, the more people try to remember, the less likely they were to do it. And what he did was he started going into and started doing, really kind of some studies. And he said that he found that there were two people, almost as though there were two people inside of each of us. And he said the first one is the instructor or the teller. And the next one is the doer. And typically what happens is the instructor, who's primarily, he's so afraid that you're going to do it wrong. He pays attention, he or she, it depends on who you are, pays attention to all of the things that, finishing one. Pays attention to all of the things because that's the way you do it. Look at all the things, do all the things. And if you didn't do it, it's because you didn't do these two steps right. Or if you didn't do it right, it's because you missed those steps. And what the instructor would do inside of you, so it's almost like if I were to tell you how to go and make a sale today, you would remember the 12 steps of the sale. But what happens is once I'm done telling you, or the tennis instructor, whoever is done telling you, then what happens is the instructor says, all right, don't forget to do this step, and then also that step, and then that step, and then definitely don't be an idiot. Don't blow it. And it kind of goes through all of the steps, and the instructor is almost like continually reminding the doer as to what to do. Now, I don't know about you, but if there was a real live person who always just told me the exact thing to do over and over and over again, I'd be like, what do you think, I'm an idiot? You think I'm stupid? Interesting enough, I will tell you, in my last go at the small negative self-talk journal, that was like my key phrase. You're stupid. People think you're dumb, which I don't normally believe. It's interesting what happens once these moments kick in. So what the conclusion is that the instructor needs to trust the doer. So that once you tell the doer what to do, stop giving them so many details, let them do it. And the idea of it is to, yes, get skilled at the details, but allowing yourself to figure out in the moment what needs to happen and understanding that that's a part of the learning process. Stepping into that. And I guess not being so critical in the beginning or critical at the end. Is it any reason some of us don't try new things? Because we're not trying new things. Because if we do, we're going to beat ourselves up for messing up. You idiot. You shouldn't have been publicly speaking. You shouldn't have been knocking on those doors. You shouldn't have sent that book. What kind of idiot are you? And that's that instructor that's just like, it's untrusting and critical with inside. So interesting points. I would just say this. If we can be, I'm looking at the time here. All right, if you have questions, put them into the Q&A. Otherwise, I'm gonna go on. There are some very specific things I want to look at for each of you guys, and I'm gonna look at a. It's not even really a method, but I'm gonna give some tactical suggestions. Also, if you know remember your Jungian archetype, you can just throw that in here, and I will put that out there. That's the whole jester, ruler, lover, all of those things. So if you know what that is, you can pop that into the Q&A too, and I can interplay with you. And again, unless you raise your hand, I'm not going to call you up for coaching. So you can pop your questions, pop your archetype. Okay, good. And that's where we are going to get going on there. But back onto the theme, though, of being unstoppable, I believe this. Being the professional is your ultimate goal. And if you have two of these three, I don't know, I don't know, elements. If you have two of these three elements of what I believe a professional is, then you are going to be pretty close to unstoppable. And it is this. If you are, I think this one, number one, you're good at it. You practice. You're growing. Okay, so think about a professor. Hopefully, they understand what they're doing. They're knowing, I guess. They know the most they can. They're constantly refreshing what they're doing. A lot of you guys are in professions that require CE, continuing education. I mean, that's the base level. But also, you should be constantly finding ways to hone your craft. And what we're doing right now is a part of it. Absolutely. But how can you be the literal best? How can you be the best? You want to know the difference between just regular and the best? Go sit in a regular car and then go sit in a luxury car. Put on a set of regular headphones, or put on a pair. One of my kids had the Apple the new AirPod things. Put on those, and you will feel the difference between people who are good and people who decided they were going to become the best. Okay, the next thing is going to be you feel it. Well, we'll just say you believe it. So I want you to think about things you might profess. Again, it's a belief, it's a faith. You might profess those things. And then the final one is if you can feel it. Let's just say like love. Okay. So if you can be a professional and you have 2 out of these 3, ideally 3 out of the 3, but if you have 2 out of the 3, you're going to be fine. So if you just believe something, but you're not committing to be good, or you feel it but you don't believe it, you're not good at it, it's going to go away. You will fail in 2023 if you just believe something but you don't really feel it. Like, you understand that it's true but you don't feel that it's true. You understand that it's true but you also you've never taken the time to get good at the skills, you're going to fail. If you're good at the skills, you've got the skills to pay the bills, but you don't have the mindset and the heart behind it, you're done as well. But if you're good at what you do and you have a belief, guess what will follow behind your action? The feeling will come later. Or even if you feel and you believe and you just step into something, guess what's going to happen eventually? You're going to get pretty skilled, because it's hard to stop someone who's passionate. That's what these 2 things probably put together would say, is passion. It's hard to stop someone who's passionate. So get 2 of these 3, you'll be fine. And the other one is, don't ever, I'm going to say this right here. Let's see, A, S, K. And this is your relentless plan. Ask for what you want. You want a referral? Ask for it. Be like a freaking pelican and ask in a clumsy way. I don't care. Ask for it. Do you want to meet someone? Ask. Do you want someone to do business with you? Ask. Okay. Seek. If you don't know what the answer is, go look for it. If you're looking for the ideal person, go look for them. If you're stuck in your office, go seek. Come on now. It's not rocket science. And if you've asked and seeked and nobody is really answering, then knock on that door. Keep knocking. Someone's going to come answer that door. Be relentless. Be relentless. Be a relentless professional. And that's how we're going to move the needle in 2024. Final thought on any of these things. And I'm not looking at 2024. I'm not someone who breaks things into 12-month segments. I believe this. Look at your next season of life. We just realized that we only have now 2 children under the age of 18. That's a different season that's now here. Maybe this is a season to gain market share for some of you in real estate and mortgage. Market share is good. Maybe it's to be seen as a preeminent authority. That's good. So how can we succeed in this season? Doesn't just mean this 12 months. What's this next few years offering to you? All right, so we're going to move into the calls. I'm going to take the calls. Those of you who've been watching the live call, goodbye. Come join us at gosellanywhere.com, and I will coach you personally from this kind of viewpoint. So goodbye to you. And for the rest of you guys, let's go ahead and jump into the actual coaching part of this. Let's go.